Today we'll be looking at Creepshow 2. Released 5 years after the original film, Creepshow 2, while not as good as the first, was still a very solid horror film. Due to time constraints and having a smaller budget, this film is only an hour and a half long instead of 2 hours, and it only features 3 short stories instead of 5. There were going to be 2 other stories, Cat from Hell and one other, but they were both cut due to time constraints and budgetary reasons. However, Cat from Hell did end up making it as one of the stories for Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. The prologue and the epilogue stars a young boy named Billy. Not sure if it's the same Billy from the last movie or not, though they did change actors. And while there are live action scenes, most of the segments between the stories are animated. Another thing to know is that in this film, the creeper actually talks. He didn't in the last movie, and this was the one thing they improved on. Let me just get the animated segments out of the way because I really don't care for them. Anyway, Billy gets ambushed by a group of bullies, and they chase him around town. That is until Billy tricks the bullies into getting eaten by a giant Venus flytrap plants. And look at the smug look that Billy gives to the camera when he does this. I don't know, it's just very creepy to me. Well anyway, moving on to the parts that we actually care about, the stories. The first one is titled Old Chief Woodenhead. The story stars George Kennedy as an elderly shopkeeper who is touching up his statue. He and his wife run a shop in a rundown town that hasn't seen life in a few years. The shop is visited by a Native American named Benjamin Whitemoon, who is good friends with the shopkeeper. Whitemoon gives the shopkeeper his most prized possession so he can pay off his debt. But later that night, Benjamin Whitemoon's nephew Sam Whitemoon robs the elderly couple and ends up unaliving them. He's also accompanied by 2 cronies, one of which is literally named Fat Stuff, and his reasoning is pretty self-explanatory. He is played by David Holbrook. David is the son of Hal Holbrook, who was in the last movie. And the other's name is Rich Boy, which is pretty funny because he's actually pretty wealthy. I don't know why he'd want to rob a store. Well anyway, Sam's motive is that he wants to move out of this dump to Hollywood so he can become a movie star. And after they literally trash the place, Old Chief Woodenhead sets off to get revenge on all 3 of them. While this was definitely the weakest out of the 3 stories, I still found myself enjoying this one. The next story, however, is definitely the strongest. The second story is titled The Raft, and it centers around a group of college kids who are on break and they go on an adventure to some secluded lake to visit a raft that lies in the middle of the lake. When they get to the raft, they find themselves being stalked by some blob-like monster that traps them on the raft and starts eating them one by one. And I do mean one by one. This was by far my favorite story out of the 3, and it still haunts me to this day, and I still have nightmares about it. The third and final story is titled The Hitchhiker. This story stars a woman named Annie Lansing, played by Lois Chiles, who is currently on the run after she accidentally ran over a man. She was trying to get home before her husband, who is a lawyer, after she had an affair with some other guy. While on her way home, the hitchhiker she hit pursues her relentlessly. She tries everything to get him away from her, but nothing works. Until finally she can't take it anymore. And the funny thing about this story is, she does end up getting home before her husband. Unfortunately, she doesn't get to the house in time. And that was Creepshow 2. While not as good as the first one, it was still a fun ride. While the first film felt like a comic book within a movie with the stylish effects, the second film just felt like a movie. Overall, I give this film a 6 out of 10.